You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey, Days of Our Lives fans. I want to talk about all of Victor Kiriakis' children because Titan Industries is unstable and it's being targeted, and we're going to dig into who all has a possible stake in this because they are heirs of the Kiriakis patriarch. So right now, we've got Xander and Philip running Titan, but other of Victor's kids could return looking for a slice of the pie. It's Belynda from Soap Dirt, and we're going to talk about all of Victor Kiriakis' kids in order. But first, please click subscribe. So Victor's firstborn child also is his one and only daughter, Isabella Toscano. She came into her dad Victor's life as an adult in her 20s. That was in the late 1980s on Days. Isabella was the daughter of Loretta Toscano, and she thought that bad guy Ernesto Toscano was her dad. Isabella was introduced as an inmate at an asylum, but Jack Devereaux saved her from her fate. So pages from Isabella's mom's diary revealed that Victor Kiriakis was, in fact, her real dad. And then Isabella went and fell in love with John Black. That was back when people thought he was Roman Brady. And that was also back around the time Isabella's dad, Victor, had brought John to Salem as the pawn. So Isabella wound up pregnant and she married John, and their son is Victor's grandson, Brady Black. And Isabella tragically died of pancreatic cancer after Brady was born, and losing Isabella inspired Victor to try and go legit, and he launched Titan Industries. Isabella was played by Stacey Greason, and she was on Days of Our Lives briefly from 1989 to 1992. Victor's second-born child is his oldest son, Beauregard Aurelius Brady, a.k.a. Beau Brady. He was born in 1963 to mom Carolyn Brady, but like his sister Isabella, Beau grew up thinking somebody else was his dad, Carolyn's husband, Sean Brady. Beau had been on Days of Our Lives a couple of years when they introduced Victor Kiriakis and invented the paternity twist in a retcon to make Beau into Victor's son. So they undid history and did this. Beau and Victor had a very troubled relationship. You know, he tried to kill Beau a few times, and Victor faked his own death and framed Beau for it, as one does. Peter Reckel has always played the role. And then we had Beau dying from a brain tumor in 2015. Then in 2023, we found out Victor's son Beau was still alive, kept in stasis by Victor's arch rival, Stefano DiMera's crazy daughter, Megan Hathaway. When Beau came out of his coma on the spinoff Beyond Salem, he was not right in the head, and he was very much focused on Victor. And on the flagship Days of Our Lives show, they brought very much alive Beau over there, and he went down this path of exploring Victor Kiriakis' past. He was not himself at all. And when he threatened Hope Brady, his own son, Sean Douglas Brady, shot him. And if you remember, Beau remained in a coma for a couple of years, and he came out of it not too long ago. And one of the hardest things that his fancy face, Hope Brady, had to tell Beau was that while he was in the coma, his dad, Victor Kiriakis, died in a plane crash that had been rigged by awful Constantine Milionis. Victor's next oldest child is Xander Kiriakis, although the paternity reveal came out to Xander after Victor's death. Of course, his dad had known for a while. So prior to the letter that revealed the truth came out, Xander thought Victor was his uncle, and he was another who was raised thinking somebody else was his dad. So Xander thought he was the son of Titus Kiriakis, who is Victor's brother, who hasn't been on the show ever, and Fiona Cook. So 10 years ago, Xander came to Salem pretty much as a common thug, working for Victor. And at one point, if you remember, he demoted him to the estate gardener as a punishment. And Xander always craved Victor's approval, even though he thought he was his uncle and not his father, you know. But of course, Xander never got Victor's approval. And then Xander was crushed that he would never get to know Victor as his dad. And we found out that Victor had known for a while that Xander was his son. That's why he left him Titan in the will. And Victor did plan to reveal this to Xander and reconcile with him and work on their relationship when he got home. But then Victor's plane was sabotaged and he died unexpectedly. So Xander found out more when his mom Fiona came to Salem. If you remember, she nearly killed Sarah driving drunk, and then Xander said he never wanted to see Fiona again. So now Xander's got no parents around, not Fiona, not Victor, and that makes Xander very sad. The fourth of Victor's kids had a very strange origin story as well. Philip Kiriakis is the only offspring that Victor has known and raised since birth, but his birth story is very complicated. Philip's biological mother is Kate Roberts, but his birth mother, as in the woman who gave birth to him, is Vivian Alamain. So Vivian and Kate were both involved with Victor back in the day at around the same time, and he told Kate he wouldn't remarry her unless she could give him a child. So she wound up at a fertility clinic and made an embryo, and crazy Vivian stole the Kate and Victor embryo and had it implanted in herself. So initially it looked like Philip was Vivian's son with Victor, but the truth came out and Kate got her boy back and she raised Philip. So Victor knew Philip was his from the start, and that's kind of part of the reason that his youngest son is such a spoiled brat. And Philip rarely met Victor's expectations. He got deep into gambling debt and at one point was using Titan for money laundering. And of course, he did have the military thing where he had a hero moment and all that, and, you know, wound up an amputee. And that was a moment where he made something of himself. But then he went bad again. Philip most recently stole half of Xander's inheritance in Titan thanks to Vivian's forgery skills, and the truth is out to some extent. But Xander and Philip continue to work together, and they have kept that secret mostly hidden up until now, just so it wouldn't hurt the company, but their trust as brothers was deeply damaged. We also have to give an honorable mention to a Kiriakis who was briefly believed to have been Victor's son. From September 2023 until July 2024, almost a year later, Alex Kiriakis was thought to be the son of Victor Kiriakis and Angelica Devereaux. This was all based on a wicked scheme cooked up by Teresa Donovan and Constantine Melionis and involved faking a letter that Fiona Cook had written to Victor, revealing that her son, Alexander Kiriakis, was Victor's son. The thing is, Xander and Alex both have the same full birth name, Alexander Kiriakis. So all Teresa and Constantine had to do was change the signature from Fiona over to Angelica to carry off this scheme. In the end, it came out right after Alex said "I do" at his wedding to gold-digging Teresa. Alex was relieved to find out Justin Kiriakis really was his dad in the end and was happy to hand the reins of power over to the rightful heir of Victor Kiriakis, which is Xander. So in the end, Victor Kiriakis had 4 biological children, 1 daughter, Isabella, and 3 sons, Beau, Xander, and Philip.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.